This is Super Yacht News with E. Sisman.
Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So this is a little bit out of our wheelhouse, but we wanted to report on this story as we've had a lot of people asking us to look into it. It's about a vessel belonging to the New Zealand Navy, which has sunk after hitting a reef in Samoa over the weekend. The vessel is a specialist diving and hydrographic vessel and was conducting a reef survey when they ran into the reef on Saturday night, if you can believe it. The ship was called the HMNZS Manawanaoi. HMNZS stands for Her Majesty's New Zealand Ship. And she was originally a civilian vessel purchased by the New Zealand Navy in 2018. There were 75 souls on board, mainly Navy personnel, and there were also some what was reported as passengers. They're probably supernumeraries who were, part of the people doing the work for the reef survey. But they're not part of the crew. Now they all abandoned ship into life rafts. Now, as well as running aground, the ship caught fire, which caused the vessel to sink. Now, at this moment in time, we don't know if the vessel was on fire first and that caused it to run aground, or if the vessel ran aground and then caught fire. It seems to, it seems more feasible that the vessel being on fire would cause it to run aground than the other way around. It's a very unusual situation. Like I said, the vessel could have been the fire could have been the cause of the vessel running aground, but we don't know that yet. Now, as you can see in the photo here, the Samoan fire and emergency services staff are rescuing some of the crew of the Manawanaoi. In another photo, the crew are landed on the beach after being rescued. Now, like I said, the ship was previously called the MV Edda Fon and was built in Norway and was a purpose-built vessel for the offshore market, and it had operated successfully in that market for 15 years before being purchased by the Royal New Zealand Navy. And they purchased it in 2018, and then they rebuilt the vessel and outfitted her with dive, ROV, and hydrographic systems, and of course painted the vessel grey in the traditional Navy grey paint. Now, the ship was an 85-metre or 278-foot ship. Now, according to the New Zealand Defence Force website, the ship has a crew of 39. So those other 36 people, like I said, probably supernumeraries who were working on board in some capacity, but not part of the crew. Now, all of the people on board eventually landed on the beach in Samoa after the evacuation from the ship. And according to the Samoan Fire Chief, Tanuvasa Patone, he said that the ship caught fire and sank on Sunday morning after a successful rescue. He said they were all taken to land and they were safe apart from a few individuals that had some minor injuries and who were treated on the scene and then transferred to hospital. But he said the conditions were quite rough and windy. Now, a local Samoan man who saw the ship sailing dangerously close to the reef as it ran aground said he wondered why it was so close in the first place. He said he crashed on a bommy. A bommy is a piece of reef that is a lot deeper than all of the other parts of the reef, so the waves don't break on the reef unless there's a really big swell. He said he must have cruised over that reef, thought nothing was coming, and then all of a sudden something came bang. I just don't understand what he was doing there. And he went on to say, it bewilders me as to why he was there. I know it's a scientific research boat, but he shouldn't have been that close to the reef. There's no reason to be that close to the reef, not with the amount of swells that were around. Now, the Defence Minister, Judith Collins, said it was a very sad day for the Navy. She said there will be a court of inquiry to establish exactly what had happened, but the reason for the grounding, obviously, at the moment is unknown, and it was too early to speculate. The New Zealand government paid 103 million New Zealand dollars for the ship, which is about 63.8 million US dollars. In November last year, the ship was used in a 7-week operation to conduct underwater surveys to help dispose of submerged World War II ordnance in Fiji and Vanuatu. Now, you'd think that would have been the dangerous trip to go on, right? Anyway, we'll bring you more on this as and when we get it. If you're watching and you've got more information for us, or more importantly, if anybody has any footage, video footage, or any photos, please do send them to us at news@theyachts.co.uk. Now we'll go on to our next story now, and this is about motor yacht Flying Fox. The 136-meter or 446-foot super yacht has been removed from the US blocked property list. Now, the yacht was added to the sanctions list directly. The Office of Foreign Assets Control, which is the block property list in the US government. And according to that office, they were added to that list because of a link to Imperial Yachts. Now, that was a yacht brokerage firm that was sanctioned in 2022, as was the owner, who was a Russian citizen. The owner of the yacht brokerage company, by the way, not the owner of the yacht. That same company is currently involved in the lawsuit for motor yacht Amadea, which is going through the US court system currently in the obviously in the US. According to the Imperial Yachts website, that company has now been liquidated. Now, Flying Fox has now been removed from that list, most likely because the link has been separated. Now, it should be noted that the Russian owner of Flying Fox has never, as far as we know, been on any sanctions lists, either with the US, the UK, or the EU. Now, Flying Fox was built by Lursen in 2019 and is the largest, or was the largest and most expensive charter yacht on the market at the time, with a charter price of $4 million US. Now, that price has come down now to $3 million US. Now, if you didn't watch the Monaco Yacht Show videos, we did a bit in the largest yachts of the show video where we talked about this new class of super yachts on the charter market that are chartering for $3 million per week. And that's a massive price tag, isn't it? It's like a new class of its own. There's about 5 yachts in that class now. Now, if you want to see that video, I'll put a link in the top and you can go watch it. All right, we've got one more bit of news before we go. One of our subscribers with a keen eye spotted this yacht heading up the river in the Netherlands yesterday. This is Motor Yacht Scat, the military-style vessel, super yacht, which has been featured many times on the channel. It was originally owned by Charles Simonyi, built by Lursen. He recently replaced that vessel with a new vessel from Lursen, also looks like a military vessel, called Motor Yacht Norn. And he sold this vessel on, and the person who bought it is somebody whose name is unpronounceable to me, but he is the chap who owns the big research vessel that is currently about 4 years behind schedule in Norway. They're the Norwegian chap, and he bought this boat, so he's got a yacht in the meantime. Now, as you can see in the video footage here, the yacht is being towed by a few tugboats and is heading to what we believe is the Ocean Cove shipyard, most likely for a refit. So it's a Lursen boat, but it's going to Ocean Cove for a refit by the looks of it. Certainly wouldn't be headed up there for any, charity events or, friendly visits or anything like that, because it's so difficult to get those boats up there now, and they have to be, they have to use tugboats, etc. All right, guys, I'm going to leave it there. If you've got any information for us about any of these stories, be sure to get in touch. You know how to do it. You can get us in the email address in the ticker. You can get us on the About page of the YouTube channel. You can get us on Instagram, on Facebook Messenger, on Twitter, and on Threema. Be sure to like this video, very important for the algorithm. Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell for future notifications. All right, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll catch up with you soon. Bye-bye.